Danielle.
And Ashley.
And in this video, you are going to see us reading
I'm Glad My Mom Died by Jennette McCurdy.
Yes, Jennette McCurdy. And this is going to be our buddy reads together. And we are so excited for you to see all of our thoughts along the way. So just like the buddy read that Tricia and I did before, you'll see clips of Ashley and I reading it at our own separate paces, at our own separate houses. And then we'll pop in together and give an outro to our final thoughts about it. All right, enjoy!
Bye! Hey everyone, popping on here just to let you know that I am reading I'm Glad My Mom Died by Jennette McCurdy. I hope I'm saying that right. This is my May buddy read with Danielle. I'm very excited. I have already read quite a bit. The chapters are very small. There's, I believe, 92 chapters, and the book only goes up to page like 300 and something, 303, 304, and there's 92. Sorry, so there's 92 chapters. 300 and what did I just say? 4 pages. They're super short, so easy to read. I'm on chapter 15. I'm liking it so far. I want to keep on reading this because the chapters are so small, so it's so easy to fly through. I'm absolutely loving it. But besides that, the actual her life, I just want to hug her. Like, my goodness, I just want to reach into the book and give her a big hug. Like, she was amazing in iCarly as Sam and Sam and Cat. I watched those shows and I just want to reach through the book and just hug her. I feel so bad for her. No kid should have to go through that, being forced to do something that they don't want to do. Like, I used to hate that. But yeah, I'm reading this. I'm like, I'll never make my daughter do anything she doesn't want to do. But yeah, it's really, really good though. I'm really enjoying it. It is actually the last day of April, so I started this book a bit early, but it's so good. Like, it's so, like, the chapters are so short. Like, here's chapter 15. Chapter 16 is just 2 pages. Oh, I love that so much. I'm gonna fly through this book. I'm probably gonna finish it really early on. I will try to remember to pop in with my thoughts here and there, but it's gonna be hard because I'm gonna fly through this book. But yeah, and I'm excited to hear what Danielle has to say about this book too. She doesn't really like biographies, memoirs, whatever this is called. She doesn't really like it, but I'm hoping that she'll fly through this too because of the short chapters. And I'm pretty sure she watched iCarly too. So yeah, we'll see. Anyway, here's to the first check-in, and hopefully he'll do more. We'll see. Bye. Hey everyone. So just popping in with to chat about the book. I'm on chapter 27, and honestly, this chapter is 1 page long. It's great. I'm really enjoying it. I know you're not supposed to speak ill of the dead, but my goodness, her mom. If I could go back in time and meet her and give her some parenting tips, I would. But yeah, I'm really liking this. I have a feeling I'm going to finish this book really soon. It's so easy to read, and I'm really liking it. And yeah, that's it for now. Hey y'all, it's been a minute. It's very gloomy here. It is Thursday, and usually I have my daughter with me, but I have a dentist appointment today, so I asked if they could take her for today so I could go to my dentist appointment, and they are, like, they were able to, they had room, so quite happy about that, because now I have a third day to sit, relax, and read more of I'm Glad My Mother Died. I read a bit more last night before going to bed, and my gosh, I just want to reach through the book, and I just want to hug her and just tell her that that's going to be okay. I'll take you home and I'll take care of you. But I mean, she's older than me. She's 3 years older than me. So, but yeah, it's really good. I didn't expect to like it so much. I also am not a big fan of memoirs. I don't really read them. I have read some, and I have to really like the person to read them. So one I really enjoyed and I really like this person is Anna Kendrick. Read hers, absolutely loved hers. I did watch iCarly. I wasn't a huge fan. My favorite character from iCarly was Sam. I always liked that character. So, but I wasn't really like a huge fan. But I picked up this book because everyone was raving about it, and now I'm finally reading it, and it took me so long to, like, I can't believe it took me this long to pick it up and finally read it, because I am enjoying it so much. I, like, purposely don't want to do things because I want to read. So yeah, it's just one of those books that's just really, really, really good. Anyway, I am going to start to read. Hey everybody, it is the next day, and I'm hopping on here to say that I finished I'm Glad My Mom Died. This is a 5-star read for me. It was really good, and I just wanted to reach through the book and give her a big hug. She went through so much in her life, and to just come to terms with all this, and to then write it in a book and relive that. I have new respect for her. I like, been looking throughout this whole book. I would go on Google and look up just everything that, like, dive more into things and see what she's been currently working on and everything like that. But yeah, no, this book was quite good. I really liked it, and another bonus is that the chapter's super short. I think the longest was like 2 pages, maybe 3. But yeah, super short, very easy to fly through, and if you are like crunched for time, you can easily fit like 2 chapters in. But it's really good. But yeah, that's it. I finished Buddy Read with Danielle. And I really liked it. I hope she really likes it too. But we'll wait to see her thoughts.
Hey everyone, it's Danielle, jumping in here to talk about the book I'm Glad My Mom Died by Jennette McCurdy. I actually have it right here beside me. Ashley and I read this as a buddy read. I'm really excited to hear her thoughts on it, but these are my thoughts. So there's a lot that I want to touch on, but I'm going to try and keep it a little bit more limited, because we are going to be jumping on a call together, and I will probably have a lot of thoughts come out in that video call. So overall, I rated this book a 5-star. It was so good. Now, I am not a fan of nonfiction. Memoirs, nonfiction, all that jazz, because I had to read a lot of that in university, and it made me kind of fall out of love with reading. I have always been an avid reader. I love reading so much, and so reading that stuff in university really made me not like reading anymore. So when Ashley said, hey, do you want to read this memoir by Jennette McCurdy, I was like, no thank you. But I am so glad that I did. So, background knowledge, Jennette McCurdy's memoir talks about her life from the time that she got into acting all the way until present, and basically focuses on the relationship that she had with her mom and Hollywood. I grew up watching Jennette McCurdy on shows like iCarly and other ones that she was on Zoe 101. She was on Sam and Cat. I had a brain Bart moment there. But I grew up in that era. So she was in that golden era of Nickelodeon, kids television, the after school programming, all that jazz, all that stuff. And Nickelodeon and Disney Channel and Family Channel were all kind of competing with each other. It was really interesting to get that inside look on what the price of Hollywood fame is and the lengths that people will go to get their kids to be famous. The lengths that her mom went to were incredibly hard to read. However, probably going through that was even harder for her. As well, she touched upon more issues that she started to get as she was getting older. And as, you know, we all go through puberty, it's hard enough. Imagine now doing it in that sort of situation where you're stressed out, you don't want to disappoint your parents, you want to get these roles, you're competing with kids your age, you're being compared to kids your age. Crazy. So imagine going through everything we all went through in puberty and now on like a more public scale, a grander scale, a more abusive scale. Jennette McCurdy touches upon her battle with an eating disorder. And for me, that was one of the hardest parts to read through. I've struggled with body dysmorphia before. I'm obviously a bigger person. I'm overweight. I have been since I started puberty, and I've been to doctors, I've been tested, I've been like, literally nothing helped. So it's like going through that, I understand where she looked at herself in the mirror and didn't like what she saw. As well as the experience of doctors who are like, okay, well, here's the answer. And then it's like, well, that's not working. What else you got? And it's like, nope, that's the answer. Like, that's what you need to do. No, it's not working. As well as her journey with therapy, that was another big thing. So I have been in therapy since I was 17 years old. And it has always been a journey. I have been in and out of therapy, finding a therapist that understands what your issues are and the best way to help. And I have seen really great therapists and I've seen really bad therapists. And Jennette touches upon only two in the book, but it's kind of comparing those bad therapists and those good therapists. And that experience that she had with that bad therapist really touched me in experiences I've had with bad therapists. So overall, a lot of really hard topics are touched on, but I think she writes it so beautifully, and you really, really get a feel for why the title is why it is. And honestly, like, I understand why that might turn a lot of people off of like, why are you glad your mom died? But just because you have a good relationship with your mom doesn't mean everybody does. I do. I love my mom, but there are people in this world that, you know, I would be happy if they were off of this earth. Not that I ever wish that upon anybody, but again, it's those relationships that you don't know about. Like, just because you have a good relationship with your mom, your brother, your sister, your uncle, your aunt, your godmother, your godfather, your cousin, your friend, your high school sweetheart, your bestie, whatever, it doesn't mean every relationship is perfect. And I think it's important to recognize that what is presented on the outside is not always the case behind closed doors. And this is especially a really good case of that. But overall, I think this is such a good read, and I think it is definitely worth reading. I think the fact that there are not trigger warnings is especially important because then you do not go into the book with any preconceived notions or biases based off your personal experience. I think it allows for a more authentic, raw connection to Jennette based on what you've experienced. So if you've experienced abuse, if you have experienced eating disorders, if you have experienced failure, if you have experienced self-deprecation, if you have experienced any of those things, the connection you make whilst reading is more authentic, I think, without the trigger warnings. Um, I really liked the fact that Ashley and Tricia and I all read it. Ashley and I read it together. Tricia has already read it. She read it, I think, a year ago or something. I definitely think that it helped us be more vulnerable and open with each other, sharing how we were feeling, what we were feeling, why we were feeling it the way we were feeling it. And I think it's worth reading and then talking to people about because I think it definitely kind of makes you more willing to share your story because she shared hers. That's my experience. Maybe not everybody's, but personally, that's what I feel. So I'm Glad My Mom Died by Jennette McCurdy as well. I listened to it via audiobook because it's narrated by her. I highly recommend. There's a lot of people that snub their noses at audiobooks, but I still think it counts as reading. So I would highly recommend. Tricia was actually the one who told me that. So I definitely would recommend listening to it because she narrates her own story and it is beautifully done. And available on Spotify. I don't know about other apps, I don't use them, but I listened to this through Spotify and her audiobook. But anyway, I will catch y'all later. But those are my thoughts on I'm Glad My Mom Died by Jennette McCurdy. And if there's not an outro, cut to me doing an outro.
Hello, I am popping in the middle of this video because I have already read this book. So now I'm really nosy and I want to know what my friends thought about this book. So, to start things off, what were your general thoughts?
I
Ashley,
loved it.
go.
5-star read. Everyone should read it. It is amazing.
Danielle, go.
I thoroughly enjoyed it. I am not a nonfiction fan, but I really, really liked it.
Yay!
This story deals with a lot of hard issues like abusive relationships and eating disorders. Do you think these are important to read about?
Yes, very much so. A lot of people deal with it and don't get the help that they need. And I feel like if they were to read this book about a famous person who they might have looked up to as kids, yeah.
I think
Yeah.
they're super, super important to read about, and I think the way Jennette McCurdy wrote about them is a really great insight, I think, into how a lot of people with these issues feel. Like in one of my notes, I wrote down the dangers of puberty and growing up when you have a lack of knowledge in what, or you are being fed false knowledge in what's happening in your body, what's happening to your body, ways to take care of your body. Because the fact that her mother was literally the one that taught her about calorie deficit, and she didn't have anybody else to stop and say, no, that's not okay until it was too late, until she got to the moment when people started to notice her behaviors and how toxic they were. And I think this book does a really great job at handling such serious subject matter that, like, yes, it's Jennette McCurdy's story, but it's also like very relatable, I think, to a lot of people going through issues. Uh I think I'm speaking on like just the eating disorders right now. There are a lot of like issues that we can get further into. But I think specifically with the eating disorders, she wrote those very, very well.
So Jennette McCurdy has been very vocal about why she did not put a list of trigger warnings at the start of this book.
Yeah.
And she's talked to her therapist about it. She's spoken about it in interviews, and that boiled down to the fact that you come across triggers in your everyday life. They don't come with warnings. So it's more powerful to you as you're trying to get over a trigger to deal with it head first, no warning, just walk into it.
Yeah.
Do you feel that this book handled that well?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think that, like you said, like handling triggers, we all have triggers in our lives. I apologize now if throughout this video I sound like a big mental health expert. I have struggled with my mental health on and off all my life, but mostly from the time I was 17. And I think that it's important to talk about, but it's also important to take very seriously. And I think understanding the difference between having a mental health disorder and feeling mentally drained, mentally unwell on one time this week, one time the next. I think it's very important to distinguish when you have a disorder versus when you don't. And I think that Jennette did a fantastic job at, we don't all know when we have a disorder. We don't all accept that we have a disorder. And sometimes people try to devalidate our disorders by being like, well, I have this and I have that and I have that. And I think putting a trigger warning at the start of the book would have been everybody going into it with their own experiences at the start right away. Well, okay, she's going to talk about eating disorders. Well, this is my experience with eating disorders, and I have this and this, and it goes in with an already determined mindset, and I don't think that's good. And I think that having those triggers come up, it can also be a learning experience for you. What does trigger you? And sometimes the word trigger triggers me. I don't like the word trigger sometimes, because sometimes it's hard to admit to yourself, I have a problem, or hey, this is a really sensitive subject for me. For me in this book, the biggest thing that triggered me was her therapy journey, because that was something that was really hard for me. So, and we could get more into that later, but yeah, I don't think there should have been a trigger warnings. I think she did a great job at that decision.
Yeah, I agree with Danielle about that. And plus, this is about her, and like she said, like things that trigger us don't come with a warning. So if she put it in the beginning of the book, then like everyone already knows what to look for. And um, yeah, I think I just think she did amazing.
Yeah,
she did amazing. Sorry, Danielle, you stole all the words.
Sorry, and also I'm so sorry. I'm getting like very rigid, and I think like this book, like I got emotional reading this book. I cried a few times in the car on the way to work. Like,
yeah,
like I'm tearing up now. What is happening?
this book got to you.
Yeah, her story is very similar to me in a lot of ways, and a lot of things that were so hard to talk about.
Don't cry.
Oh my god,
I love you so
much. Oh my god. But
you're gonna make us cry.
Holy
Tricia, go to Danielle's house. Go hug her.
Okay. And there were like I was so scared to, like, there are things that I've only recently told Tricia and Ashley about. And of course the tissues were on the other side of the room. There are things that like even I felt uncomfortable telling my closest friends about, and I haven't told them until like recent years. And she just being so vulnerable and so open and so honest and so earnest in this book was like mind change. Like this book I finished like a week ago, 2 weeks ago, and it has still sat with me, and I've literally thought about it every single day. And like I haven't been able to put into words like how much this book meant to me. And I don't know why it means so much, because I'm on such a good road with my mental health, but like, oh, okay, wait, I need to go get a tissue. I'm like bawling my eyes out over. Josh is gonna come home and be like, what the frick is happening? Hold on, I need a tissue.
No, I understand that. It's because you're also reading about someone else who has experienced the same stuff that you might have experienced. So it opens up the old wounds that you have worked through or you have accepted, but it's still, you still feel for that person because you also struggled with that.
Yeah.
Oh, it opens up old wounds that you're like, oh my gosh, I remember going through that.
Yeah, definitely.
like this video is not about me at all, but you both, Ashley and Danielle, you both know that I have issues with food. I've had issues with food my whole life. So like Danielle's talking about, well, Jennette's story is way different. It resonates with me and like makes me feel things that aren't necessarily enjoyable, but are powerful.
I think that's the perfect tagline for this book. It
Yes.
makes you feel things that are powerful and not necessarily enjoyable, but powerful. Like that is a perfect
Mhm.
tagline for this book.
Yeah, no, like with her anxiety, that opened up a can of worms for me because of how I struggled with my depression and anxiety.
Hmm.
So,
Over the last couple of years, a lot of things have come to light about like Hollywood and the celebrity industry. And this book doesn't go super in depth into some things, but it does touch on them. And again, this is Jennette's experience.
Hmm.
But do you feel that the experience she talks about lines up with other things that have come out throughout the last couple of years?
So we grew up in that era of the golden years of kids television, like Nickelodeon, Disney Channel, Family Channel, that we still all have memories from that. We blare the soundtracks all the time when we're together. And recently in media and news, a lot of those people that we looked up to when we were in our preteens and our teens are coming out with these stories. And yes, it's shocking as the audience who look up to these people, and like Disney Channel and Family Channel and Nickelodeon were like this thing that you could not touch. Like it was our world that was perfect and you could escape everything else from, and
mhm,
that was where you went every Friday night, Saturday. I think the reason that Jennette's story and those stories are impactful to our generation is you are literally breaking down what we thought our world was and what we thought these people's experience was.
mhm,
Reading what she had to go through and she said a line in the book that was like, yeah, I'm famous, but at what cost? What
mhm,
cost to my mental health? What cost to my relationships? What cost to my understanding of myself, my body, my sexuality, my what toxic relationships are versus positive relationships? And it was interesting. Have you guys seen the documentary about Nickelodeon and Dan Schneider and all that called
not
I
Quiet
yet.
haven't
on
seen
Set?
the full thing, just clips.
You need to watch it. So I watched the full documentary Quiet on the Set, where Drake Bell first came out about the allegations against one of the producers on the show. Jennette McCurdy touched on some of those as well, specifically with who she called the creator, which I'm assuming is Dan Schneider. She never actually mentions him, which I think is a choice, and I've
She
read that that was
refuses
a
to
choice.
name.
Yeah, that was the
Yeah.
choice. And refused to sign the
Yeah.
NDA and accept that money,
Yeah.
which I was like, yes, girl, like that probably took huge as big for Drake to come out and share his story, because especially for men, that's a really hard thing to talk about. Um,
Yes.
I think it gives this sense that when preteens are kind of entering high school, deciding what their future is going to be, a lot look to fame. Right now, it's social media. They want to be influencers. There's a price for everything, and there's a cost for everything. What are you willing to sacrifice? What are you willing to do to get where you need to be? We know women in Hollywood. Are you willing to get down on your knees and open your mouth for these opportunities? We know that now it's coming more to light, men and women having to do that, and people
Mhm.
taking advantage of people's lust for that stardom. So it's like, yeah, you're famous, you're well known, but do you really want to be based on what you had to do to get there?
Yeah, always being in the spotlight. It was said that in her book too, like when she was on vacation with that guy that who was in the relationships, like she was always in the spotlight and she didn't
Hmm.
want that. Well, I mean, she was only famous because her mom made her, but that's a whole nother question.
Whole
Anyway,
nother
but
story.
yeah, with the uh with the allegations, I will watch that documentary now.
It's very good.
It
I've heard
um
amazing things.
Hmm.
yeah, I'll probably watch it this weekend, but with the creator, you can tell in the book that she was super uncomfortable with him.
Hmm.
And you can even see in clips that I've seen, you can see Miranda, her friend,
Yeah,
like he puts his arm around her and she's
yeah,
like you can physically see it. So
yeah. Well, because these kids were 13, 14, 15 years old. And that's why we resonated so much with that era. Like this is the early 2000s, and into like 2009, 2010, we were in high school. We were the same age as these guys were. And like when iCarly came out, I'm pretty sure we were entering high school. I think it was 2009 it came out. And like I
Maybe.
loved that show. That was my go-to show. And it's
Yeah.
like think about if you were in a position where an adult who was in charge of you started making those kinds of comments or those kinds of actions, and you're very scared to say something. Like we see it a lot in the news with teachers, and this is where my teacher like
Mm-hmm.
this comes out. Teachers that take advantage of those kids. These are the adults that are supposed to protect them, guide them, lead them, show them what's right, and they take full advantage of that.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like for us, like if putting ourselves back in 2009 when we were 14 years old, imagine we get the chance to be on a TV show and then we're getting groped every day by this 40-year-old guy who's supposed to be our boss.
And
It,
I remember seeing, sorry,
I was just gonna say it's pretty gross.
it is. I remember seeing a clip of the guy who played Carly's brother would always try to get in between him and the kids.
I've seen that.
And I'm like, you go, guy. Like, I love him.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, the fact though that her mother was also like, you need to impress him. You need to make sure you're his favorite, and that he had a good and bad list
The
that she
fact
touched on
that,
in the book.
yeah, the fact that Jennette talks about the two big shows at the time and how one show was the fun show because all of the child stars were drunk and did drugs.
Yeah.
And then there was the good show. And if you didn't act the way he wanted to, your career was done.
Done.
Yeah. Well, even thinking about like how certain characters were dressed on that show, like we all understand the 2000s fashion, but really like again, I'm going based off of like what we were all like in 2008, 2009, 2010. We all had those certain things that we wore, but those girls on those shows, like those outfits were like sexy and cool and like we looked up to that. Like we were like, "Oh my gosh, like that's such a cool outfit." Like I wish I could have dressed like Victoria Justice. I wish I could have dressed like Miranda Cosgrove. First of all, I had insane body issues. Second of all, my parents would never have allowed that. But now these stories that are coming out of what those girls had to go through
Mm-hmm.
because those outfits were picked by a group of 40-year-old men, 30 and 40-year-old men, men twice their age, sitting in a room in Hollywood saying the bikini needs to be smaller, the shirt needs to be lower, the pants need to be tighter. Imagine you're at the mall and you just have a guy sitting there looking at you being like, it's all right, but show a little bit more boob. Or, it's all right, but like, do a little jiggle.
And imagine you finally stand up for yourself, you say no, and then you get labeled the problem one.
Yeah.
Yep,
That is basically your entire career.
yep,
Mm-hmm.
Like
yep,
Jennette McCurdy, and she alludes to Victoria Justice, who
yep.
basically got blacklisted in Hollywood because she refused.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, this book.
Well, on that super happy note, I have one final question for you guys.
Mhm.
And that's I read this book a year ago. So I've had 12 plus months to read the reviews and see what other people thought about it. A lot of the bad reviews or people who didn't enjoy the book, their big complaint is that the title is I'm Glad My Mom Died, but they feel Jennette does not fully explain why that is. Do you guys think that it was explained well?
Yeah.
I think like it's no, she does not have a chapter that she comes right out and is like, this is why I named the book this. But if
No.
you read the book, and also I listened to the audiobook for most of this because she narrates it. It
Mm-hmm.
is, if you have not listened to the audiobook for this, listen to the audiobook for this.
I told these two to do that.
Yeah, she narrates it and it was phenomenal. And like just through the stories you can understand. But you also feel the love that she did have for her mom. It's like imagine like if you've ever been in a toxic relationship where it's like, I really wish this person would die, but like I also love this person.
Yeah.
Like it's very self-explanatory of why she named it what she named it. And it's like by the end of the book, the suffering that not only she had to endure, but her siblings, her brother who was 16 getting showered by his mother, her who was getting internal exams, vaginal exams by her mother, being forced into a career that she didn't want, being forced to basically be the peacemaker between her parents, living in the house of a hoarder. If you have not gone through a traumatic experience with someone who you thought was the star, moon, and sky, if you have not been betrayed by someone that you thoroughly loved and enjoyed, and again, these are topics that are very serious to my heart. You have no idea what it is like to sit and wish that people you loved were not on this earth anymore. And I have. I have sat in a room with a therapist, I've sat in a room with my family, and we wish certain people in this world were dead. And you cannot comment on that unless you have lived that. And so I understand why she wishes that her mom died and is happy that her mom died.
One second, I need a tissue.
And that's an emotional thing, and it invokes emotion, but it's so, and like, even if you're sitting there watching this like, no, I don't have anybody in my, think about every experience you've gone through, think about every person you've interacted with who you thought in the depths of your soul was this person who was supposed to care for you, this person who was supposed to love you, this person who was supposed to be there for you in every way somebody is supposed to be them, whether it's a parent, in my case it's my godmother, in other people's cases it might be a sibling. And then imagine that they do something time and time and time again, and you cannot walk away. You have no choice. You have to stay in that situation.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when you start to, I really wish this person was off of this earth. And I wish I could just move on with my life.
Yep. What was the question, Tricia?
Oh, you guys covered it.
Oh, yeah.
The question was based on bad reviews if you think it covered the title well.
Yeah, Danielle pretty much covered that.
Welcome to Therapy with Danielle.
It did, yeah. Like she said, there was no chapter that said why, but throughout the book, you figure out why. And it's pretty much because she forced Jennette to everything that she didn't want to do. But I'm just gonna leave it at that because Danielle is really good at explaining this book.
I think another, I know Tricia said that was the last one, but I do think it's worth talking about the therapy journey she goes on. Because that for me was the biggest part. And I think it was so beautifully written that therapy is a journey. You are not going to love therapy because therapy brings out every bad thing that you don't want to feel, the things that we avoid. I'm a huge advocate for therapy. I literally talk about it all the time with my students, Josh, my family, my friends. I think it, just know that if it's not working for you, that doesn't mean there's not somebody out there who you're going to resonate with. What were your thoughts, both of you, on the way she wrote about therapy and the experiences she had with therapy?
Yeah, I I, I don't even know what to say really. I was kind of shocked um, with how was it the first therapist or I don't know. It was one of the therapists that would just I just wanted to strangle them.
Yeah, the lady.
Along with them. Yeah, I
Yeah,
wanted to strangle her along with the mother because I was like, why are you being like this? You are a therapist.
when she was at the party, basically throwing up everything she had just eaten, and she came in, and I remember the line because I was just insanely shocked. She said, "It's okay, baby, just get it all up," and I was like,
Yeah,
"No,
I was like, no, you need to no, like, what are you doing?
yeah."
Yeah, yeah, I was really shocked about that. But then didn't she get sorry, I read the book quite a while ago, so I'm forgetting things. Did she get another therapist though at
Yeah,
the
she
end who
gets
was
the
really
guy who introduces her to the idea of journaling.
yeah, everything.
And Jennette likes that because for Jennette, her brain is all over the place when you're in those moments. I personally don't have a the eating disorder that she has. But when you're in those moments of anxiety and your brain is just whirling around in your head, she said she found that very grounding for her. She liked having her thoughts laid out in a nice list form, and that was the therapist. I believe she only talked about two therapists. I don't know if that's her current therapist.
Yeah, I think it was just the two.
Yeah,
They were
and
on the
so
guide.
she enjoyed that and found him very helpful.
Hmm.
Trisha, what were your thoughts?
I am a strong believer that everyone should go to therapy, whether you think you need therapy or not. Everybody needs someone to talk to.
Mhm.
It can start as simple as I got mad yesterday and this is why, and it'll help you
Hmm.
realize it's not just this is why. It's 10 years ago this thing happened to you, so now it is a trigger of yours when this thing happens in your current day life and you didn't realize that. And as someone, so I don't know if I've said it on the channel before, but I grew up dancing. And as much as I went to an amazing dance studio, I had one teacher that really sticks out in my mind. I weighed almost 100 pounds when I was 12. And she went out of her way to order each of us a dance costume that was a size too small. And she said, she came into class and said, each of you can afford to lose at least 15 pounds. If you don't fit into this costume, you don't dance. And I've had that issue since I was 12 years old. I'm turning 30 soon. And I still, to this day, will look at food and hear that you can afford to lose at least 15 pounds. I weigh more than 100 pounds now. It is incredibly bad for me. So when I read Jennette's story and heard everything that her mom made her go through, that her brain made her go through, that that first therapist told her was okay, it was really hard to see her trying to go through therapy and it not being what she needed until it was what she needed. And that was so gratifying to see that this thing that is supposed to help you actually did end up helping her. And like that is super important.
Yeah. I just realized that I all of us had issues with food.
And what's interesting is, and we have been friends. Ashley and I have been friends since elementary school. Trisha and Ashley and I have all been friends since high school. Um, we have not been this candid originally when we were all going through these issues, and not that we didn't trust each other. I consider these two my sisters. It's hard to admit that I need to stop crying. It's hard to admit to the people you know love you the most that you have a problem. And it's just been in recent years we've been as open with each other about family issues, body issues, mental health issues, all sorts of things. And I think it's about, like, Jennette found Miranda. That was her tribe. This is
That
our
was.
tribe.
Mhm.
I'm sorry, I know that word's not like the greatest word to use, like cliche. You have to find the person
Your
that
family.
that are your family, whether that's your family you're born into or the family you choose.
Hmm.
And luckily for us, we all have very supporting partners who are also a source for us. I'm in therapy. My therapist is a source for me. My family is a source for me. You have to find those people. And I think for Jennette, this book was also a source for her. But I want to give her kudos. Putting her story out there is insanely vulnerable of her to do.
Yeah, I said that she was very brave for putting. Oh, well, I thought I'm not sure if I said it in when I was recording my thoughts, but
Mhm.
I just remember thinking that she's so brave
Yeah.
to be putting everything out there and letting millions and millions of people read her story and what she went through. Like that, she's an amazing person, and I've always liked her as like Sam
Yeah.
and iCarly. I always loved her. I always wanted to be her, and
Yeah.
it did turn out to be like her. But like now, I just have so much respect, like newfound respect for her, and just I just want to hug her. Just
I
want to
have
hug
so
her.
much respect for her dad. Like,
Yeah, who wasn't even her
her
dad.
biological father.
Yeah, her
Like,
biological father.
to stay with to stay with someone like that who basically, like, physically abused him, emotionally abused him. And I think that was a great comment on, I think there's such a stigma around men's mental health, and that we see what her dad's gone through. And unfortunately, I don't know if her dad was ever brave enough to talk about it in therapy. I know eventually he was brave enough to walk away, which I think is amazing of
It's the
him.
first step.
I'd love to read his story and hear about his story. I mean, but I mean, everybody deserves their own privacy. I just think that was an incredible part of the story, an underlying plot, if you will, of this book. The abuse that her father endured, but knew that if he walked out, his kids would have suffered a great ordeal. Like, basically, his salary and Jennette's was keeping them afloat. And I think that that was an incredible model of a man that did what he needed to do and stay in a situation that he wanted to escape for the betterment of his children.
Yeah, he was
Betterment,
dead.
like, I understand it was a not great situation, but still.
Mm-hmm.
Jeez Louise. Um, that was crazy emotional. But that was an incredible amount of questions, Trish, and some incredible questions.
Is there
Yeah.
anything else you guys wanted to touch about on this book before I let you go?
I think our ratings are pretty clear.
Yeah, you both hated it.
1 star.
Oh yeah, terrible book.
No, it's 5 star for me. I will be reading it again. I wish that I literally had this book years ago, to be quite honest. Um, I don't think for me any other memoir is going to hold up. I could be wrong. I am excited. I already have a list of memoirs that I'm wanting to read, but I think this one really hit home because this was she is us. She is like she's the same around the same age as us. This is somebody I looked up to when I was in grade 8, grade 9, grade 10. Um it's incredible. I like a fantastic book.
Yeah, I agree with Danielle. Like I said at the beginning, 5 stars for this book. It is absolutely amazing, and it t just touches on so much sensitive issues and topics. And I I would recommend this book, but like Danielle said, I'm not sure how other um oh my gosh,
Memoirs.
memoirs. Sorry, I was like, what's the word again? Memoirs are going to like live up to this. Like I have Matthew Perry's, I have
That's the one I want to read.
Goldberg's. Like I have a bunch now that I'm like, I'm not sure how much I'm going to enjoy them
Yeah.
because this was just.
I do want to read Matthew Perry's. Matthew Perry narrated it on Spotify, but Matthew Perry has since passed away, and I think I'm such a huge fan of the show. I'm
Yeah.
literally gonna bawl my eyes out. So I will be waiting until summer vacation when I can bawl my eyes out in peace.
Well, thank you both for indulging me. I'm glad you enjoyed this book. I loved it when I read it, and I'm so thankful I got to hear your thoughts. And thank you, everybody, for sticking around this long. I hope that if you've read the book, we can hear your thoughts about it. If you haven't yet and you plan on reading it, come back and let us know what you thought. It's a very important message. At least I think so, and I believe my friends agree. But thank you so much for being here. We appreciate the support. As always, see you in the next one. Bye!
Alright, y'all, thank you so much for watching this video. We really enjoyed talking about this buddy read and this book. Let us know down below if you have read I'm Glad My Mom Died by Jennette McCurdy and what other memoirs you would recommend us reading either separately or together as a book club. Alright, see y'all later. Bye!